So I just want to say I'm not an expert. I'm just an actress. But I certainly have lived experience with, as a member of a family who was impacted by mental illness. It was never talked about. We have no vocabulary in our family for mental illness. The scary words never came out of our mouths. My father was a Columbia-trained surgeon who I think, sorry Dad, but I think he thought psychiatry was a lesser. My life changed when my sister Jessie, I just have to say I'm missing two people up here with me right now. My sister Jessie, who's the reason why I am up here, and my nephew Kaylin, her son. Jessie suffers from bipolar disorder, and Kaylin from schizoaffective disorder. And my life changed when Jessie came up to me one summer afternoon. We'd been all gathered at my parents' house, and she was leaving, and she came up to me on their driveway, and she said, "I need your help. I can't stop thinking about killing myself." And I didn't understand where that was coming from. I had not observed, I was, in my career, it was actually before the time where you could text and keep up and send pictures about how you're doing. It was either letters or telephone. And so we would go for huge chunks of time without really knowing what each other's life was like. And I had no idea that she was an alcoholic. I did know, you know what, I don't even know. She had tried to kill herself when she was 16. It was not taken seriously, really, in the family. Certainly wasn't talked about. She tried it a second time. She was always the one that was, oh, Jessie, she's the wild one. She's the irresponsible one. She's the kind of original crazy one. It was, well, crazy, we didn't know what we were really talking about. But literally it would be get a job, pull up your socks, do something, because that hard-headed Yankee stock, little did we know that she couldn't. But when she came up to me that day and said, "I need your help," her son had actually, Kaylin had his first psychotic break earlier and had spent 2 years at McLean Hospital, and it saved his life. But again, we didn't know what to do when he came home. It was a little scary. His face had changed. He wore dark glasses a lot. Jess went to McLean herself, and I have to say, I acknowledge the fact and thank God that we were lucky enough to be able to afford care for them. Because without that, Kaylin, I'm sure, would be on the street. And I don't know where Jessie would be. Jessie probably would be dead. So I acknowledge that we are lucky that we were able to help them, that we had the financial ability to help them and get them the best care. And I think one of the problems in this country is that difference of people, if you have money, you can get care. If you don't have money, you either end up in prison or on the street. But Jessie was finally properly diagnosed when she was 50 years old. And when I think of what her life would have been if we had been more knowledgeable as a family. And they came to me and they said, "Can you help with stigma?" Because Kaylin, who was a beautiful boy and kind of leader of the pack, when he came back from the hospital, lost all his friends. And to this day, none of them have come back. And that is as difficult as the illness itself. And when you find out, you talk to people like Tom, like anybody who is in the field of mental health, the basic problem is stigma. It keeps people from getting help. It keeps families from being able to talk openly. It's that fear and shame. And so we decided, I said, I'll help you, but you have to tell me that you're willing to talk about this, to talk about what you're living with and what you've been through on a national platform. You've got to talk about it. Because it's not about me, it's about you. And the amazing thing is that both of them said without hesitation, we will. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was doing an interview with Mashable Media, and I said that I have suffered from mild depression probably my whole life. The difficulty of saying that, when I think about Kalen saying he had schizoaffective disorder, the scariest word of all, and Jessie saying she had bipolar disorder, the courage that it took them to come out and talk openly is something that moves me, and that I have such deep respect for them, because it's all about starting the conversation. It is simple as that, to be able to say the words. I know as an actress the power of words. And to be able to say schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, serious depression, OCD, all of these things, just say it. And the thing that makes me angry is that we all are getting educated to the fact that there's 1 in 4 of us. I won't ask you to raise your hands if you're touched by mental illness. I don't want to put you on the spot. But if I asked you if anybody in your family had been affected by cancer, it would be a different situation. I think we have to come to the point where we realize that mental illness is a chronic illness like any other. It's easy to say that, very hard to make happen. I think stigma, I guess it's the Yankee in me, knowing how difficult it is to move stigma. Because it's not just, I learned from Bernice Pesco-Silvillo, who's one of our, where are you, Bernice? She's on our scientific advisory board. She's a genius sociologist. It's not just changing people's opinion about it. You have to change their behavior. And that's really hard. And we have learned, and it's scientifically proven, that the best way to change people's attitude and behavior towards those living with mental illness is to meet somebody and hear their story, because you know what, they look just like you. Kalen told me something amazing the other day. He has lost that look on his face. Now the look, if I can do it, the look is kind of, and that's a frightening look for a lot of people. And he said to me the other day, I said, you've lost that. He's worked so hard at managing his illness. He's become a painter. He's gotten married. But he said, well, the trouble is, it's not, because I think it's one of the things that makes mental illness frightening to those who are ignorant about it is that, look, you think you're going to hurt me. And he said, no, I'm the one who's terrified. That's a look of terror, not of aggression. And I think, wow, misreading somebody's, face. And just that simple thing, I thought, oh my God, so I've learned tremendously from them. I am deeply, deeply, deeply admiring of their courage. And we are, determined somehow to move the needle, to get the data, to find the campaigns, to help people start the conversation. And have the courage just to say, I have schizophrenia. My sister has bipolar disorder. Somebody comes up to me in the airport and says, there's mental illness in my family. And I say, what is it? What is it? Say it. You can say it. And they say, bipolar disorder. And then this look like, I can do it. You know, it seems so simple, but it's so profound. And there's histories of why mental illness is so frightening to people. But I think we've come a long way. I think we're learning from high school students, we're learning from college students. And from the experience that I have in my family, I know that it is the stories that will make a difference. So I urge you to start the conversation. Thank you.